Okay, hi. So now we are going to talk about reading and writing files in Python. So we've learned about the various data types of Python. We've also learned how these data types, how you can create them, lists, tuples, dictionaries, how you can manipulate them. But oftentimes your data comes in Excel sheets or text documents or some files, right? So, and the output is also needed in these same files. So for that, um, knowing how to read and write files in Python is the most important thing. So first what you have to learn is something called as opening the file. Now as you can see on the screen, the open function returns a file type object. Okay, any object that gets returned needs to be assigned to a variable. So out there on the screen you can see the syntax for opening a file, that is you put a variable1 is equal to open, and then you put the file name and the extension and obviously the location also out there, and then there's something called as mode. Now what is this? Let's see that with an example. So we can create a variable called file1. File1 is equal to open trial.txt, which is whatever your file name. Now if that file is in the same folder as the folder in which your Python program is saved, then you don't need to add the location of the file because it's in the same folder. But let's say it's on the desktop, so then you will type file1 is equal to open and then quotes, and in the quotes you'll type the whole address, c:/user slash janak slash desktop, and slash trial.txt. That way the whole address that is there along with the name and then dot the extension. Okay, now that is followed by the mode. Okay, here the mode is W, which is a write mode. R is a read only mode. So you can take the contents of the file, you can put it some other place and use it some other place, but in the read only mode you cannot edit the file. If you put write mode, it will erase the existing file, only the file, a blank file will remain, and then it will write stuff on that blank file as though it were, brand new. So now if you want to edit an existing file, you cannot use the write mode. Why? Because this will erase everything and then start writing everything from scratch. So if you want to edit an existing file, you have to use a mode called A, that is append. What append does is it adds more data to the end of the existing file. So if your existing file has some 50 rows, it will append the new data on the 51st row and things like that. R plus is both read and write. Okay, and then you can do all of this on a binary file. Okay, .bin binary file. You must have seen these files, right? And for doing reading, read only, write only, and append, read only, write and append on a binary file, you have to put RB as your mode or WB as your mode and AB as your mode. Okay, so this is a little bit about how to open a file. Okay, so if you open a file, okay, you take the data, you edit the file, do whatever operations you want. You have to ensure that at the end of the program you have to use file1.close or the variable, that name that you've given, var1 or file1 or whatever name that you have selected. You have to put that variable dot close as a statement so that the file gets closed. Okay, this you have to do. Otherwise, if your program just terminates in the middle or anything happens, there is a big chance that your file can get corrupt. Okay, so so what if your file stops running before the close statement? Your program stops running before the close statement is executed and all. There's a lot of risk involved. So in order to avoid that risk, okay, commonly people use the with statement along with the open statement. Okay, now what this with statement does is it will run that block of statement with the open file. As soon as the block of statement is done, it's over. The file is closed. Then you have to write with again, open it again if you want to do anything else again with it. So the with, if you use with, you do not need to use the close statement, and it's much safer to run a file when you do the coding with the with open statement. Instead of open something, you do with open trial.txt, then you put the mode, and then you put the variable name out here, file1, and then you put your statements. So out here, the block of statements can either be read by so now you're done with opening a file. Okay, now our topic was reading and writing a file. So the block of statements can either be read by the read function, or you can write the file or stuff on it using the write function. Okay, and again, now what the read function does is copies the contents of the file into a specific object. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to put the read also in a variable. Now I know things are getting a bit heavy for you guys, so let's move on to Spider and continue the rest of the discussion. Okay. So this is our topic, reading and writing files in Python. Okay. So let us, so I do have a file called trial.txt. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the file. Okay. So here goes with open. Now I put the file name. Oh, sorry, I have a file called tradelog.txt. Okay. With open tradelog.txt, comma R, okay, which is the read-only mode, as file1. Okay. Now I have to tell what to do with that. So as of now, I want to read the contents of the file. So what I'll do is I'll assign a read function. Okay. So how do I do the read function is that I assign an object. Okay. File1 data. Okay. File1 data is nothing but a name I've given to the data which should be there in file1. File1 is tradelog.txt. File1 data is equal to file1 dot read. That's it. Okay. So now this object is initialized as file1.data. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print file1. There we go. So just a simple way of reading this program. Okay. Now there's an unnamed thing called R. It does not know what R is. Peculiar because yes, R should also be in quotes. So my bad. There. Now we are good. Now we are good, and we can run this file. So there you go. This is my tradelog file, okay, and this is the data which is comprised in my tradelog file, which is tradelog 9th April 2020 by 2000 Maruti at this price. Tradelog 10th April 2020 by 1000 Tata Chem at this price. Okay. So this is all about reading a file. Now let's say I want to write a new trade log to this file. Okay, I want to write an additional trade what I did on 13th of April. Okay, so I need to use the write statement. Okay, reading is this simple. I can then okay, let me just finish this talk about reading first. So what I can also do is I can loop through this data for row in file1 data print row. So this will print the data in a for loop. Every space bar that it finds, this is a string. So every string alphabet that it finds here it's going to print in a new line. So this is not the right way of playing with this file, okay? But I just wanted to show you that you can put for, if, anything that you want in this. So I want to show you now something where each line one by one. Okay, so by using the read function, what we did was we took the entire contents of the file in a variable called file1 data and we printed it out. But now I want to go line wise. I want to print the first line, then I want to print the second line, and I want to go that way. So for that, what I have to do is I have to do print, okay, and again I have to go to file1 dot and you can call read line. Okay, so what this does is it reads the first line of the file. Okay, now if I were to print this again, okay, out here, it's gonna print the second line of the file. There you can see Tata Chem. Okay, so what read line does is it takes the cursor, okay, line wise and prints line wise. So if there was a third line and if I would put print file1 or read line again, the third line would have gotten printed. But there is no third line. Okay, so now this was about reading files in Python. Okay, the read function and the read line function. Okay, I'll just note it down here. Read function and the read line. Okay, so we did that. Okay, now I'll comment this out. And what I'm going to do is now we'll go about writing a file. So we have this file. So first let's append new data to the end of this file. Okay, let's learn that. Now for this, we have to use the append. Okay, so we have to again use with open tradelog.txt, comma. Now I have to put the mode as A. Why? Because I just want to append to the. Now what I want to do is I want to print. Now in order to write, okay, I have to use the write thing. The write method file1 dot write. Okay, and out there in that. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a n. Why? Because I want a new line. Okay, and then I'm going to write trade log 13 April 2020 colon by 3000 auto. Okay, so now let's see if this works. Suppose to use the write function. Okay, and indent, I should start this with the start of the line and we are good. Okay, so I've written this. Now let's run this, and then once it's done I'll just print that we know, and then we'll check the file whether that thing actually came in it or not. Okay, so now let me open that file and let me check whether it actually has happened or not. So this is my folder, this is my trade log file, and there trade log 13 by 3000 Bajaj Auto at this price. Okay, so it has come here. Although there is an indent of I think one space bar out here. Now let's see how we can avoid that. There, this is that one space bar. Okay, between /n. If I do this, that would not have come. Okay, so if now let me append 14th April 4000 Reliance at price not 14. Let's do. If I do this, file updated. Okay, now if I load this file and the spacebar is gone. Why? Because that spacebar came because I put a spacebar in the string that I was entering in the right file. So you can see that this is how we use file.lag. Okay, There's another thing that I want to show you with regards to writing a file, and then we can probably end this session. Okay. For that, let me create a new file. So I will first comment this out. Okay. Now I want to give file name that I want. So I'll file Janak is gonna open it. Now the mode is gonna be write. Why? Because I'm making it right from the start, scratch, as file 1. Now I want to generate a set of numbers. Okay, right from born till the current year. Okay, 1986, and I want to put each year in a different in the text file. So how do I do that? I'll put a for loop. So I'll put year 1 is equal to 1986. Okay, now for I'll use a while loop. Let's use a while. So now I want to write that year in a new line in the file. Okay, so what I'll do is I will do I'll do file 1. It will not write this. Why? Because for writing, okay, it needs to be a string. So first I'll convert this thing into a string, and then I'll write string year. So whatever the year is gonna write that. Okay, and then I'm going to increase year 1 plus e. That means I'll increase the year by 1. So this ought to technically do it. There's a undecided name year. Oh yeah, while year 1 is less than equal to 2020. Now will this work or will it not work? Let us see. Okay, let me put file updated in quotes. Now let us see. It's gonna work or not. There we have a new file janak.txt, and it has got each and every year in that file as it is. Now this is not something that you want, right? Because as I said, all these years in a different row. So for that, I need to add the new row thing also. So what I need to do is I need to first create a string, okay, called string1. String1 is equal to and let me create a string this /n. That's it. Okay, and then I do dot format. So what I've done is I have made a new string with the year 1 in it and a /n operator, which is a new line operator in it. And now I'm going to write the file. Now as this file already exists now, it has got that data in it also, which we saw. Okay, it has got this data, but as I told you that since the mode is W, it's gonna erase that entire file, rewrite it with whatever we want. So now when I run this, it put file updated. Now when I check this, okay, not the trade log, there you go. All these years are in a separate line. So the point I want to teach you with this was all these loops and all these things to manipulate your data, and then you can print that data back in your output file as you require. Just remember that the write method, okay, the write function, the file1.write, it requires a string to be written to a file. So whatever you are working on, convert it to a string and then you write it to a file, and it's gonna work. So this is how you write a file. So I hope you've understood this. Now in our next video, we'll learn about reading and writing CSV files. It's similar, but there are a slight few changes.